Hey everyone, let's talk about all the books I read in April. I have read a total of 12 books, I believe. I do have some 5-star reads and I do have a DNF as well. I'm going to start off this April wrap-up by saying that I read the next 7 or 8 volumes of Attack on Titan, so it was volumes 10 through to 17, and I gave each volume between 4 and 5 stars. There were some that were 4, there were some that were 5. The 5-star ones were the last 3 to 4 volumes that I had read. They were just so flippin' good, holy moly. If you don't know, Attack on Titan is a series that follows the last of humanity that have been driven behind these 3 walled cities because Titans, these humanoid Titans, are getting rid of humanity. They're kind of destroying humanity. One day, there is a severe Titan attack that kicks humanity into gear to want to fight back. I'm in love with this series. This series is kind of like a bit of an awakening for me, and as soon as I finish the manga, I am going to watch the anime. I'm going to binge watch it. I can't wait for that day to happen. I'm just going to be vague with my thoughts about the series or the volumes that I have read because they're sequels. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone. Like, I accidentally spoiled things for myself. Each volume kind of alternates between action-packed scenes and volumes, and also character-focused volumes and scenes as well. So it's a nice pace because you don't want it too fast, but you don't want it too slow either. So it kind of breaks it up. Though I will admit there were a couple, probably 2 to 3 volumes that I have forgotten about. Like, I know I read them, I just read them at a time where I was really tired and nothing was sinking into my brain. But I still remembered the important parts. And there's a character, Levi. Just looking at his facial expressions, you think he has seen a lot and he's been through a lot. My poor little baby Levi. We finally got the answers, right? We finally have some answers into the Titans and also into Levi's backstory as well. I'm freaking hyped for the series. I need to see how it ends. I think I may have figured out some things just with the things that I had spoiled myself with, and just with some reveals in the manga, my brain's kind of clicking and putting some things into place. But I could be completely wrong still, I don't know. Hajime Isayama is known for having like little plot details that people often miss for like those really big reveals, and there's still a lot we have to know. There's still a lot. I'm going to stop talking about it because I could be here all day. The next book I read in the month of April was Crown of Midnight, which is the second book in the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J Maas. Got a little tongue-tied there. I feel like I don't need to explain what the series is about because it is so hyped. And the hype is real for the series because I gave it 4 stars, I believe. And it was so flipping good. I just wanted to drop everything and continue on reading the series. I just wanted to binge watch the whole... Binge watch? No, I wanted to binge read the whole series. It's so addictive, so captivating, so page turning. Selena was really playing a thin line. She was really dancing across a thin line in this one. She's kind of like secretly defying the king with her contract. And we do know what the king's plans are. We do have a bit of a reveal for the magic system because magic is banned, it's outlawed in this series. If you talk about magic, if you sing about magic, even if you're shown to have a little bit of magic, you're gone. Nice to know when you're out of the building, you're out of the world, pretty much. It went in a direction I was not expecting, and I have not read a lot of YA fantasy, so in my mind, just with what other people that have read a lot of YA fantasy have read, and with how, like, me watching those reviews, just kind of knowing secondhand how they could go, I thought that this book was going to go in that direction, but no, it's a very mature, I would say late young adult fantasy series, and it is fantastic. How's it gonna go? I don't know how it's going to go, but I need to find out. The next book I have read is Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I DNF'd this one. It follows two people and a friendship group. The two people are Harriet and Wynne. Well, we get to see more from Harriet, because I keep thinking that Emily Henry's books are dual point of view. They're not. Harriet and Wynne were a couple in this friendship group. They were engaged. They split up. They did not tell their friends. Them and their friends go on a yearly holiday together, and they haven't. Harriet and Wynne have not told their friends that they're not engaged anymore, that they're pretty much split up. And they have to act and pretend and fake date that they're still a couple, even though they're not, and they haven't told their friends yet. And it's second chance romance, like I said, it's a fake dating trope. I don't know if second chance romance or even a fake dating trope is my kind of thing. One or the other did not work for me, which is why I DNF'd it. And also, it was not the right book for me to read at this time. I was just not wanting to read it. I was not in the mood. Looking at some of the reviews of this book, because sometimes if I'm feeling a little bit iffy about a book, I will look at some reviews, not the spoilery ones, but I will look at reviews to see if they are worth my time. From what I know, it talks about grief, depression, death of a loved one, and growing out of your friendship group. Those are the kinds of things I'm not ready to read. I was expecting something a little bit more fluffier. Romance books can talk about serious issues, but because I'm reading Attack on Titan and even some other books on this wrap-up that I'm about to tell you, I needed something a bit fluffy. And especially because the other books I was reading were dark, I did not want to read something serious. I just wanted something a bit fun just to break things up. And this one was not that book, unfortunately. I don't want to say I'm outright DNF to this book, but I do want to give it another chance. Some kind of like soft DNFing, postponing me finishing this book. I will get to it sometime in the future. I don't know when the future will be, but I will get there. Second last book I read is Dune Messiah by Frank Herbert. This is a 4-star read. I was hoping for it to be 5-star because I kind of reread this book in the sense that I finished it. I did read the first few chapters of it a while ago. I was just not in the right headspace or the mood for it, so I just like soft DNF'd it, postponed it for another time because it was really intriguing me still. It takes place 12 years after the events of the first book, and the first book is about the Atreides family who have come into ownership of a planet called Arrakis or Dune, and this planet has the spice that controls the galaxy. You control the spice, you control the galaxy. And House Harkonnen were previous owners of this planet. Harkonnen are not happy that the Atreides family have the power now of this planet, and so a rivalry rages between them two. This one takes place 12 years after the events of the first one, like I just said. There's a short one, and it could have been longer. Some things happened off-page. I really needed a bit more from it just to make the emotions a little bit more real. I'm convinced Paul does not have any emotions. Like, he really doesn't. But the politics and the scheming were just top-notch for me. They were so good. But I could have seen more, like the people that were conspiring against Paul. I could have read more of that. There could have been more chapters of that because it was only in the first chapter. And I needed a little bit more of it. It's all about godhood and wanting power, and which is funny because the people that created Paul, I guess you could say, they want Paul's powers, but they want to control him. It's all about controlling people and manipulating them to get what they want. And it is a really good book. It did give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. Very curious to see where the rest of this series is going to take me. And the last book that, well, it's not technically the last book, but for this video it is The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. I gave this one 5 stars. New favorite of mine. It is so good. This is a reread for me, and the first time I read it, I gave it 4 stars. It was really, really good. It's a book that really stays on your mind and really is a bit of a sucker punch and quite an emotional book as well, especially towards the end. I was surprised at how much I had remembered the first time reading it, which was going back 2-3 years now. And there were things I remembered, but there was also one scene that I have forgotten, and it's kind of towards the end. If you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Pretty much about the Sox and the Greasers, who are these two rival groups or rival gangs. It's the last gang fight, I believe. Things go too far and they decide enough is enough. Why are we like freaking scrutinized and just shit on? I love this book. This book is so good. This should be recommended reading. It really should. It deals a lot with found family trope. Found family trope is a bit of a big one in this one. If you love that, I do think you will enjoy this. Just the relationship dynamics between the people and between the boys and the young men in the Greaser clan, especially in this little group in this book here. And it's talking about we're no different from one another except for maybe like financial and social class. Why is one society different or treated differently to another? There's a bit of a social commentary book. Yeah, it's pretty much what I said. Talks about socioeconomic classes and how one is viewed differently to the other, even though like we're all the same. Why should it be any different? It's just one having more privilege than the other, one just doing it for the sake of it. Like fighting is not, you shouldn't be fighting for the sake of fighting, you know, just. And a lot of the issues that the Greasers face, sometimes even the Sox, who are like the social ones, like the really higher up privileged socioeconomic group, it is relatable to a modern day audience. I highly recommend this one. So flipping good. Bit of a tearjerker. Well, especially for me. I think you will enjoy it because it is an important book. Look, I'm struggling to do an outro for this, so I'm just going to say see you later. Goodbye. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what books you read in the month of April down below. Did you read any of these books that I have mentioned? Did you enjoy them? Goodbye. See you later in the next video.